Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome to the News Now. I'm Cyria Sandlin. Hope your day's off to a good start. If you missed us on Daybreak, we're going to get you caught up on everything you need to know to start your day. We are live right now on WTOC.com, on our news app, Amazon Fire, Roku, Twitter, and of course, Facebook. And this morning, we are keeping an eye on Hurricane Florence. So many of you reaching out to us with questions. And First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin joins me now to update you on what Florence is doing right now. Hey, Cutter.
Hey, Saria, good morning. We just got an update from the National Hurricane Center weekend. 10 miles per hour wind speed, that is 130 mile per hour sustained winds, not 140. Getting to that latest data in just a moment. What's happening here, it's not done. It's not falling apart. Certainly that's not the case, but it's just restructuring. And as soon as it finishes that restructuring inside of the storm here, we're going to see those wind speeds come back up. So it's not breathing a sigh of relief for those in the PD of South Carolina and North Carolina, but just something that is part of these monster storms. They tend to go through these cycles, and it's weakening at the moment. Still moving west-northwest at 15, expected to remain on a northwestward course and making landfall early Friday morning. This is not a new track. We'll get one of those at 11 a.m., but remaining a Category 4 hurricane upon landfall in southeastern North Carolina. And yes, the cone does extend. By equation here, this is just how they design the cones. Doesn't mean they expect it to just go wherever at the end of the cone, but there is more uncertainty the further you go out, of course. So just keep that in mind, but no big changes overnight. Just because visually it may look a little worrisome because it's a big old wide cone doesn't mean there have been any huge changes overall. So still expecting a North Carolina landfall, but of course we can't ignore it, and we will keep you updated if anything does change. The weather today, it's not bad. Pleasant this morning, mild, mostly dry. I do think scattered downpours developed this afternoon, and lightning a factor, all caps, big time lightning producers yesterday. If you're off today, remember some South Carolina counties don't have school outside, either prepping the house or maybe just relaxing outside. You hear thunder, please do move indoors. And that gradual turn, Florence is underway, making that North Carolina landfall increasingly likely, and impacts here will be limited if that track holds to just breezy offshore winds, rough seas, and an elevated rip current risk. Of course, we're going to be detailing all this for you coming up throughout the rest of today. Digital weather now coming up at 11 a.m. WTOC weather app and at WTOC.com, as well as social media. Taking you over to traffic this morning. Eyes on the low country. We are looking at roadways. The map's all good right now. Ocoee Highway 170, 278, 95, 17. All routes here, both official evac routes and just routes getting to work this morning, all in the green. Maybe yet to see any delays in Beaufort County, Jasper County, nor Hampton County so far this morning. Reminder, if you do plan to evacuate from a mandatory evacuation zone in South Carolina, you can check driving conditions if you're in the passenger seat throughout the trip or in your phone before you leave the house. Bottom of the WTOC weather app today. Saria.
All right, thank you very much, Cutter. Well, mandatory evacuation orders go into effect in just 4 hours in coastal South Carolina, which means schools in our area will be closed today in anticipation of Hurricane Florence. Beaufort, Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties are included in those closures. Some colleges also canceling classes until further notice. All after school and extracurricular activities are on hold right now. Governor McMaster says the school buses and buildings will be used to help with evacuations. You can find out more about which counties are affected on our website. And it will be a very busy day on South Carolina's roads as mandatory evacuations begin to take place in 26 counties. Several counties within our viewing area are included in those mandatory evacuations. Like we said, that includes Jasper, Colleton, and Beaufort. Our Zach Logan is joining us now from Bluffton to talk about how they're getting ready to handle the storm.
Yes, Saria, as we know, Bluffton is included in the evacuation list, and we know that a lot of people are trying to get ready. We actually have 278 in front of us this morning, and we're seeing a lot of cars heading west, but we're also seeing some cars heading east. So we have Captain Lee Levesque. He is with the Bluffton Town Fire District. He's joining us this morning. Captain Levesque, just kind of what are you telling people as they're kind of getting up this morning? Do they need to go ahead and evacuate now rather than wait later?
Absolutely. The key here is the fact the governor and really intelligent folks have made a decision that it's best for us to evacuate. You wouldn't go to the doctor who told you had 2 weeks to live and completely disregard and blow that out of the water. You pay some attention. And that's kind of how we approach these scenarios. There's a reason they've asked for that evacuation. Agree or disagree, that's your prerogative. But ultimately, if it comes down to your safety, that of your family, your pets, your loved ones, evacuate. Absolutely evacuate. Unless they change it. Pay attention again to what the governor does, and he'll be putting out updates, as will be for County Emergency Management and other emergency agencies. But ultimately, it comes down to a decision that is going to either make or break your family, and we're in the make business. We want to see folks do the right thing for the right reasons. There is no better scenario for anybody involved than for everybody to evacuate, nothing to happen, and then we come back. That's a win for everybody all the way around. I appreciate the finances. Many of us do understand the finance with evacuating and all the other drawbacks. But ultimately, it's a small price to pay to live in paradise that we live in. And if a couple times a year, God, let's not do that again, but if once or twice a year we have to evacuate, let's do so in the interest of safety.
Captain Levesque, we know that a lot of people live here in Bluffton, but they actually work in Savannah. And right now, Georgia is really not considered to see any kind of impact from Hurricane Florence. So a lot of people are having to still work today, and they're worried that they might not be able to get back into Bluffton later on to either pick up their families or kind of lock up their homes and then head out. So will people be able to kind of get back here after work today?
Absolutely. And it's very important that people understand that. Our friends from law enforcement were here on WTOC earlier this morning to share the same sentiment. Yes, and yes. We appreciate the fact that there are those who work outside of the cone district or the evacuation district, so to speak. Yes, you will be able to come back. The only concern that we would ask folks to pay heed to is if we'd opt to reverse lanes, which we pray doesn't happen. That's based on the flow and the volume, and emergency management here in Beaufort County and law enforcement will make that determination, and it will be broadcast in social media, your outlets, and anywhere else that we can get the word out. So pay attention for that. But for the short term, we don't expect that. We expect folks to be able to come and go as they please, especially those coming from, again, Georgia and other places that need to come home and secure their stuff before they get out. Absolutely understand that. We're families and human too. We understand that. We'll work with you. But right now, no, there should be absolutely no issue whatsoever to get you back where you need to be.
Great. Captain Levesque, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. And like he said, if anything changes, we'll be sure to update you both on air and online. Reporting live in Bluffton this morning, Zach Logan, WTOC News.
We want to take a live look right now from the WTOC Savannah Hilton Head International Airport Skycam. If you are traveling today or the rest of the week, you need to listen up. Your flight could be impacted by Hurricane Florence, and several airlines want you to be ready for any disruptions. Those airlines are waiving change fees for travelers. This includes the following airlines that fly out of our airport: Allegiant, American, Delta, Frontier, and United. Of course, make sure you check your airline's website for the latest information. And WTOC also has all of that information and more on our website and mobile apps. Just go ahead and click on the Hurricane Center on WTOC.com or visit the Hurricane Resources page on our news app. You can also get up-to-the-minute forecasts from our First Alert weather team, including regular videos on our weather app. Some breaking news we've been following from overnight. Savannah police say a driver is in the hospital this morning after a bad wreck. The driver collided with a semi-truck, totaling the car. The semi-driver was not hurt. The accident was at Dean Forest Road and Pine Meadow Drive, right by the Parkers of I-16. Savannah PD's major accident investigation team is in charge of the accident because of the heavy damage. Well, search teams will be back out this morning after a reported plane crash. They're searching for a plane that may have crashed into the Skidaway River last night. So someone called 911 a little after 7:30 saying they saw the crash. Crews searched for hours but were unable to locate a plane or any debris, pilot, or passengers. They have also not been able to locate the witness for further information since they talked in the first place. So if you have any information about this witness or the reported plane crash, please call the Chatham County Police. Well, let's take a look at some of our trending stories this morning. This one has been all over my social media timelines, and a lot of you are sounding off on our Facebook page. Get this, a Georgia charter school is bringing back paddling. The Georgia School for Innovation in the Classics in Hephzibah sent parents a letter last week asking permission to hit their children with a wooden paddle if they don't behave. Punishments would only happen in private, and students wouldn't be hit more than 3 times. Parents can also opt to have their children out of paddling, but they have to agree to up to 5 days of suspension as an alternative punishment.
Honestly, we feel that it's something that that's not going to be used very often. Sometimes it's just kind of the the threat of it being there becomes a deterrent in itself.
Fewer than a third of the parents who have responded have reportedly given consent for their kids to be paddled. Today, thousands will come together at the World Trade Center in New York City to observe the anniversary of the deadliest terror attack in U.S. history. Victims' relatives, survivors, rescuers, and others are expected to be at the ceremony. There will be a moment of silence marking the exact moment when the flights struck the Twin Towers on September 11, 2001. The names of the nearly 3,000 victims will also be read. There will also be observances at the Pentagon and the spot where Flight 93 crashed that day. There are also several places in the Low Country and Coastal Empire that have ceremonies planned for today. Runners just started the annual Old Glory Flag Relay at Fort Screven. At 8:30 sharp, the American Legion Post and Thunderbolt will host a ceremony, including stories from 4 people who saw the towers fall. And the City of Richmond Hill Police and firefighters will hold a ceremony at 9:30 this morning at J.F. Gregory Park. Well, about 500 of you are watching this right now. We want to take a moment to kind of go through some of the comments. A lot of you saying good morning, a lot of you asking questions about Florence. We want you to make sure you go to the Hurricane Center app on our website because we have the latest information there. We're doing video updates from the First Alert Weather Team. Also, a lot of you sounding off about this paddling story. More than 1,000 of you responded to our poll. 45% of people saying that they would let someone paddle their child. 55% saying no. We're getting a lot of comments. Andre said, hit my child, you're getting hit back. Dara said, children need to be spanked. It instills just enough fear to make them do the right thing. Kara said, no, physical punishment and pain are not a necessary part of teaching discipline and modeling self-discipline. A lot of you sounding out on this. I also posted on my WTOC Syria Sandlin page some pictures from the One World Trade Center Memorial in New York City. It is absolutely incredible. I want to know where you were on September 11th. That morning 17 years ago. So leave me a comment, join the conversation. And don't forget, we will be back at 10 a.m. with another update for the News Now. Until then, I hope you all have a great day. We'll see you a little later.